The morning started like any other Tuesday at Lincoln Middle School in the small town of Ridgewood, Ohio. 12-year-old Lily Morrison sat in her usual seat by the window in Mrs. Patterson's English class. She was half listening to a lesson about persuasive writing while watching the clouds move slowly across the autumn sky. The trees outside were turning orange and red, and a gentle breeze made the leaves dance. Lily was thinking about what she would eat for lunch when everything changed. At exactly 9:47 in the morning, the clouds disappeared. A huge shadow fell over the entire school. The ground started shaking. The windows rattled so hard that Lily thought they might break. Students screamed and dove under their desks. Mrs. Patterson dropped her chalk and grabbed the edge of her desk to keep from falling. Lily did not move. She stayed in her seat and watched as something massive came down from the sky. It was a ship, but not like any ship she had ever seen in movies or books. It was dark and shaped like a giant triangle with sharp edges. It was bigger than the whole school, bigger than the whole town square. The ship stopped right above the football field. It blocked out the sun completely, and everything became dark like evening, even though it was still morning. Within minutes, smaller ships came out of the big one. They spread across the town like angry bees leaving a hive. One of them landed right in the schoolyard. It crushed the old oak tree that had stood there for 100 years. Lily's grandmother had told her stories about that tree. Now it was gone, flattened like paper. The creatures that came out of the small ship were not human. They were tall, almost 7 feet, and they looked like giant insects. Their bodies were covered in hard shells that shined like oil when light hit them. They had many arms with joints that bent in strange ways. Their faces had large eyes that seemed to see everything at once. The leader of the group had red markings on its chest. It walked differently than the others, with more confidence. It carried a strange device that made a humming sound that Lily could feel in her teeth. Principal Martinez ran to the front doors. He was trying to get everyone out of the building. He was a brave man who had served in the army before becoming a principal. But even he stopped when he saw what was happening. The aliens moved fast. They sprayed some kind of foam on all the doors and windows. The foam turned hard like rock within seconds. Nobody could get out. The school had become a prison. Lily watched from her classroom window as more aliens landed around the building. They moved with perfect order, like they had practiced this 1,000 times. Maybe they had. Maybe they had done this to other schools on other planets. The aliens started going through the building room by room. They pushed everyone toward the gymnasium. Teachers tried to protect their students. Mr. Harrison, the gym teacher, even tried to fight one of the aliens. It simply pushed him aside like he weighed nothing. When the aliens came to Mrs. Patterson's classroom, Lily finally moved. She stood up slowly and walked toward the door with her classmates. Her best friend Danny Kowalski grabbed her hand. His fingers were cold and shaking. "What's happening?" Danny whispered. His voice was so quiet, Lily could barely hear him. "I don't know," she said. "But we need to stay calm." The gymnasium was chaos when they arrived. 300 students and 40 teachers and staff were all crowded together on the wooden floor. Little kids from the elementary wing were crying. Older students were trying to act brave, but failing. Some of the teachers were praying. Others were hugging their students and telling them everything would be okay, even though nobody believed it. The aliens stood around the edges of the gymnasium like guards. They held weapons that looked like metal sticks with glowing ends. Lily did not want to find out what those weapons did. The leader with the red markings walked to the center of the gymnasium. It carried a small box that it held up to its mouth when it spoke. The box turned its clicking sounds into English words, but the voice was flat and empty, like a computer reading a book. "You will comply," the alien said. "Resistance means termination. Your species has been selected for assessment. Those who prove worthy will serve. Those who do not will be processed." A woman screamed. Several children started crying louder. A teacher near Lily whispered, "Oh God, oh God," over and over like a broken record. Danny squeezed Lily's hand tighter. "We're going to die," he said. "They're going to kill us all." But Lily was not listening to Danny. She was watching the aliens. She was studying them the way her mother had taught her to study people. Her mother was a psychologist who studied how different people communicate. She had taken Lily to many lectures and taught her to look beyond words. "Watch their bodies," her mother always said. "Listen to more than their voices. Everyone tells you who they are if you pay attention." So Lily paid attention. She noticed that when Mr. Harrison shouted at the aliens in anger, they paused. They seemed confused by his loud voice and red face. When little Sophia Reyes from 3rd grade started crying loudly, the aliens near her took a step back. When Mrs. Patterson tried to speak calmly and reasonably to one of the guards, it ignored her completely. The aliens were not scared of calm. They were not scared of reason. But they were bothered by emotion. Strong feelings seemed to confuse them, maybe even frighten them. Lily stored this information in her mind like a puzzle piece. She did not know yet how it would fit, but she knew it was important. The alien leader spoke again. "You will remain here until assessment begins. Food and water will be provided. Attempts to escape will result in immediate termination. Cooperation ensures survival." Then it turned and walked out of the gymnasium, leaving 20 armed guards behind. Danny looked at Lily. Even through his fear, he could tell she was thinking. He had known her since kindergarten, and he knew that look on her face. "You're planning something," he said. "Not yet," Lily replied. "But I'm learning. And sometimes learning is the first step to fighting." She sat down on the cold floor and continued to watch. Somewhere in this nightmare, there was a way out. She just had to find it. And she had a feeling that the answer would not come from weapons or strength. It would come from understanding that the aliens thought they had captured 300 helpless humans. They were wrong. They had captured 300 people with hearts and minds and souls. And among them was one 12-year-old girl who was already beginning to see their weakness. Hours passed in the gymnasium. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, never turning off. There were no windows in this room, so nobody knew if it was day or night anymore. Time had become meaningless. The aliens brought water in large containers and strange blocks of food that tasted like nothing. Some people refused to eat. Others were too scared. But Lily made herself drink and eat. She needed her strength. She needed her mind to work clearly. She spent those hours watching and learning. The aliens operated on a strict system. The soldiers with plain shells never spoke unless the leader or other marked aliens spoke to them first. When a higher-ranked alien approached, the lower ones would pull their smaller arms close to their bodies and tilt their heads to one side, showing the soft parts of their necks. Lily recognized this behavior. It was submission. It was showing that they were not a threat. Their entire society was built on ranks and obedience. The strong commanded. The weak obeyed. Fear kept everyone in line. But Lily also noticed something else. The aliens were uncomfortable here. Not just alert or cautious, but genuinely uncomfortable. They flinched when babies cried. They stepped back when teenagers whispered to each other. When Mr. Harrison started humming a song under his breath, 3 guards turned their weapons toward him, their many eyes blinking rapidly. They were afraid, Lily realized. Not of weapons, not of violence. They were afraid of things they could not understand or control. Human emotion was chaos to them. Human unpredictability was terrifying. Danny crawled over to where Lily was sitting. He had been watching her watch the aliens. "You figured something out," he said. It was not a question. "They're scared of us," Lily whispered. Danny almost laughed. They're scared? They have ships that can travel between stars. They have weapons. They just took over our whole planet, probably. They took over our buildings, Lily said. They took over our machines. But they don't understand us. Look at them. Really, look. Danny watched as one of the guards moved away from a group of crying kindergartners. The alien's body language showed clear discomfort, like someone standing too close to a fire. Okay, Danny admitted. That's weird. My mom always says that fear comes from not understanding. These aliens have probably conquered many planets. They probably met many other species. And every single one of those species either fought or ran away. Fighting and running are things the aliens understand. So, what don't they understand? Lily thought about it. Us. The way we feel things. The way we connect to each other. Look at Mrs. Patterson. They both looked at their English teacher. She was sitting with a group of first graders, telling them a story in a soft voice. The children had stopped crying and were listening with wide eyes. Some were even smiling a little. She's scared too, Lily said. Maybe more scared than anyone. But she's putting that aside to help those kids. She's choosing to be brave for them. I don't think the aliens have ever seen anything like that. The leader with the red markings returned to the gymnasium. Its translation device crackled as it spoke. Assessment will begin at the next cycle. Candidates will be evaluated for usefulness. Those who are deemed non-productive will be transferred to processing facilities. Cooperation ensures survival. Processing facilities. Lily did not know exactly what that meant, but she could guess. Non-productive people would be killed. Maybe used for parts. Maybe just eliminated because they took up resources. She made a decision. Lily stood up and walked toward. The alien leader. Danny grabbed at her shirt. What are you doing? Are you crazy? She gently pulled free. Maybe, probably, but I have to try. The guards moved to stop her, their weapons humming with energy. But Lily kept walking, her heart beating so fast she thought it might explode. The leader raised one clawed hand, and the guards stopped. Child, the mechanical voice said. You approach the authority. This is not normal behavior. I want to understand, Lily said. She was proud that her voice did not shake, even though her whole body wanted to run. May I ask questions? The leader's compound eyes shifted through different colors. Blue, then green, then purple. Its head tilted slightly, not toward her but toward the space above her, as if it was talking to someone invisible. Questions are allowed, it said finally. Within limits. Lily took a deep breath. What are you called? What is your species? We are the Vorth Collective. We have existed for thousands of your years. We control 17 star systems. Why are you here? On Earth? Resources. Assessment. Expansion. The collective must grow. Growth is survival. Stagnation is death. What happens during assessment? The Vorth leader made a clicking sound that might have been impatience. Individuals are tested. Physical strength. Mental capacity. Obedience. Those who pass are assigned roles in the collective. Soldiers. Workers. Technical operators. Those who fail are processed. Processed means killed. Processed means optimized. Biological resources are not wasted. They are allocated for maximum efficiency. Lily felt sick, but she kept her face calm. She had learned from her mother that showing too much emotion during a negotiation was a weakness. Although this was not exactly a negotiation. Not yet. You've done this before, she said. To other species? 43 species have been absorbed by the collective. Earth is number 44. And they all submitted? Every single one? The Vorth leader's colors shifted again. Submission is logical. Resistance is inefficient. All species eventually understand this truth. Some learn quickly, some learn slowly, but all learn. Lily nodded slowly. She was beginning to understand something important. The Vorth had not conquered through strength alone. They had conquered through psychology. They knew that every species had survival instincts, fight or flight. They were ready for both. They crushed fighters and hunted runners. After a few generations, the survivors learned that submission was the only option. But what about a species that chose neither fight nor flight? What about a species that found a third way? Commander, Lily said, using a human title because she did not know the Vorth word. May I tell you a story? The alien's body went still. Its colors stopped shifting. A story? This is not relevant to assessment. It might be. Please. Just one story. The gymnasium had gone quiet. Everyone was watching now. Teachers and students, young and old, all staring at this 12-year-old girl, standing alone in front of an alien conqueror. The Vorth leader looked at her for a long moment. Then it made a gesture with one claw that Lily hoped meant agreement. Tell your story, human child. I will listen. Lily had their attention. Now she just had to find the right words. Lily took a moment to gather her thoughts. Every eye in the gymnasium was on her. Human eyes filled with fear and hope. Alien eyes filled with something she could not read. The weight of it all pressed down on her, shoulders like a heavy blanket. She thought about the stories her mother had told her. Stories about people who changed the world not with weapons, but with ideas. People who stood up when everyone else sat down. People who spoke when everyone else was silent. A long time ago, Lily began, there was a country called America. It was not always a country. It used to belong to another nation far across the ocean. That nation was called Britain, and it was one of the most powerful empires on Earth. The Vorth leader listened without moving. Its translation device hummed softly, converting her words into whatever language the aliens thought in. Britain had the strongest army in the world. It had the best weapons. It had more soldiers than anyone could count. And it controlled America completely. The people who lived in America had to follow British laws. They had to pay British taxes. They had no freedom to make their own choices. This is logical, the Vorth leader said. The strong control the weak. This is the natural order. That's what Britain thought too, Lily said. But the American people did not agree. They believed that all people were born free. They believed that no one had the right to control another person's life. So they decided to fight for their freedom. The Vorth leader made a clicking sound. They resisted? With inferior weapons and fewer soldiers? Yes. Everyone told them they were being foolish. Everyone said they would lose. The British Army was professional. The American fighters were just farmers and shopkeepers. They had old guns and not enough bullets. They had no training and no experience. Then they were eliminated. No, Lily said, and she smiled a little. They won. The Vorth leader's colors shifted rapidly. Blue, green, purple, red. This is not possible. You describe a situation where all factors favor the superior force. Victory by the inferior force contradicts basic logic. That's because you're missing something important. The Americans were not fighting for land or money or power. They were fighting for an idea. The idea that freedom is worth dying for. The idea that some things matter more than survival. The gymnasium was completely silent now. Even the crying children had stopped to listen. Lily could feel the attention like warmth on her skin. When you fight for survival, she continued, you stop fighting when survival is threatened. You surrender. You submit. But when you fight for an idea, you never stop. Because ideas cannot be killed. Even if every American had died in that war, the idea of freedom would have lived on. It would have spread to other people, other nations, other generations. The fourth leader was very still. You suggest that ideas are more powerful than weapons. I'm not suggesting it. I'm telling you it's true. The British had everything. Guns, ships, soldiers, money. The Americans had almost nothing except their belief that they deserved to be free. And that belief was enough. Belief is not a measurable factor. It cannot be calculated or controlled. Exactly, Lily said. And that's why you don't understand it. Your whole society is built on measurement and control. Everything has a place. Everyone has a rank. The strong command. The weak obey. It's orderly. It's efficient. But it's also empty. The fourth leader moved for the first time, taking a step closer to Lily. The guards tensed but did not interfere. Empty? The collective has existed for 2,000 years. We have conquered 17 star systems. We are eternal. You're surviving, Lily said. But are you living? When was the last time any Vorth did something just because it made them happy? When was the last time any Vorth loved someone? When was the last time any Vorth looked at a sunset and felt wonder? The alien did not answer. You don't even know what I'm talking about, do you? Those feelings, those experiences, they're not part of your world anymore. Maybe they never were. Maybe the Vorths were always like this. Or maybe, a long time ago, you were different. Maybe you lost something and forgot you ever had it. Lily thought about her own life. About her mother reading her bedtime stories. About Danny making her laugh with stupid jokes. About the feeling of sunshine on her face after a rainy week. Small things. Unimportant things by Vorth standards. But they were the things that made life worth living. You conquer because you're empty, she said softly. You keep expanding because if you stop, you'll have to face that emptiness. Every new planet, every new species, you think maybe this time you'll find what's missing. But you never do. Because what you're looking for can't be taken. It can only be created. The fourth leader was silent for a long time. The gymnasium held its breath. You are a child, the alien finally said. Young and undeveloped. Yet you speak as if you understand things beyond your years. I understand because I pay attention. And because I'm human. We're not better than you. We're not stronger or smarter. But we have something you don't. We have each other. We have love and hope and dreams. We have reasons to live that go beyond just surviving. And you believe these things make you stronger than the collective? Lily shook her head. I believe these things make us different from everyone you've ever conquered. You can kill our bodies, but you can't kill what makes us human. And somewhere deep inside, you know that. That's why you're uncomfortable here. That's why your soldiers flinch when children cry. You sense something in us that confuses you, maybe even frightens you. The fourth leader turned to look at its soldiers. They stood at attention, weapons ready, shells gleaming under the fluorescent lights. Perfect, obedient. Empty dot that looked back at the humans, messy, scared, holding each other, comforting each other. Imperfect in every way, but alive in a way its soldiers would never be. I must consider your words, the fourth leader said. This is unusual. No species has spoken to us this way. Maybe no species was ever given the chance. Maybe you always started with weapons instead of words. The alien made a sound that might have been agreement or might have been doubt. Lily could not tell. Assessment will be delayed, it announced. I must consult with higher authorities. Then it turned and walked out of the gymnasium, leaving the humans alone with their guards. Danny rushed to Lily's side. What just happened? Lily's legs were shaking so badly she could barely stand. The courage that had carried her through the conversation was fading, and now she just felt tired and scared like everyone else. I bought us time, she said, but I don't know how much. She looked around at the faces watching her. Teachers and students, strangers and friends, all united by this moment. She had started something. Now she needed to figure out how to finish it. Word spread quickly through the gymnasium. Everyone wanted to know what Lily had said to the alien leader. Parents who had children in other parts of the building sent messages through whispered chains. Teachers gathered in small groups, speaking in hushed voices. Even the littlest children seemed to sense that something important had happened. Lily found a quiet corner and sat down with her back against the wall. Her whole body was exhausted. Talking to the Vorth leader had taken everything she had. But she knew the fight was not over. She had only won a small battle. The war was still ahead. Danny sat next to her. He did not say anything for a while. He just sat there, being her friend, which was exactly what she needed. Finally, Mrs. Patterson walked over and crouched down in front of them. Her eyes were red from crying, but her voice was steady. "That was very brave," she said to Lily, "and very dangerous. What made you think you could talk to them?" Lily shrugged. "I didn't think I could. I just knew that if nobody tried, we would all die anyway. At least this way, there was a chance. What do you think will happen now?" "I don't know." The leaders seemed confused, maybe even curious. That's something, right? Curious is better than certain. Mrs. Patterson nodded slowly. "You're wise for your age, Lily. Your mother must be very proud of you." Lily felt a sharp pain in her chest. Her mother? She had no idea if her mother was safe. The aliens had ships all over the town. Her mother could be in another building just like this one. Or she could be somewhere worse. She pushed the thought away. She could not help her mother by worrying. She could only help by staying focused and finding a way out of this. "I need to talk to everyone," Lily said. "I need to explain what I learned." Over the next hour, Lily moved through the gymnasium, gathering people in small groups. She told them about the Vorth, about their hierarchy and their fear of chaos, about how they had conquered 43 species by exploiting the basic instinct to survive. "They expect us to either fight or submit," she explained. "Those are the only two options their minds can understand. Every other species chose one or the other. The fighters were destroyed. The submitters were enslaved. So what do?" asked Principal Martinez. He was a proud man, a former soldier, and it clearly hurt him to be asking a child for guidance. But he was also smart enough to recognize when someone else had better information. "We do neither. We show them something they've never seen before, something that breaks their understanding of how the universe works." "And what is that?" Lily thought about it. She thought about all the stories she knew, about all the lessons her mother had taught her, about what made humans special. Unity without submission, strength without violence, defiance without fear. Mr. Harrison, the gym teacher, stepped forward. "You want us to just stand there and refuse to cooperate? They'll kill us." "Maybe, but maybe not. They're confused right now. They've never met a species that doesn't act the way they expect. Every time we do something they don't understand, it makes them more uncertain. Uncertainty is weakness. It's the only weakness they have." A woman named Mrs. Cooper, who worked in the cafeteria, spoke up. "So you want us to be unpredictable?" "I want us to be human. Loudly, proudly, completely human. When the aliens come back, we don't fight and we don't surrender. We stand together. We show them that we're not afraid of death because we have something worth dying for." "What do we have worth dying for?" asked a teenage boy near the back. Lily looked at him. She looked at everyone. Each other. Our freedom. Our right to be who we are. The Vorth gave up those things so long ago that they don't even remember what they lost. But we still have them. And if we give them up just to survive a little longer, we won't really be alive anyway. The gymnasium was quiet. Lily could see people thinking, processing, deciding. Some faces showed doubt. Others showed fear. But a few, just a few, showed something that looked like hope. Danny stood up beside her. "I'm with Lily. Whatever happens, I'm not going to be a coward." Mrs. Patterson joined them. "Me too. I didn't become a teacher to watch children get processed by aliens." One by one, others stood. Mr. Harrison, Principal Martinez, Mrs. Cooper, students and teachers, young and old. Not everyone. Some stayed seated, too scared to move. But enough stood that the message was clear. What exactly do we do when they come back? Principal Martinez asked. Lily had been thinking about this. When they try to separate us for assessment, we don't move. Nobody moves. They'll threaten us. They might even hurt some of us. But we stay together. We hold hands. We look them in the eyes. We show them that killing us won't break us because we're already free. And then we see what happens. Either they decide we're too much trouble and leave us alone, or they decide to process all of us at once. If that happens, at least we die as humans instead of living as slaves. It was a terrible plan. Lily knew that. There were so many ways it could go wrong. The Vorth might simply kill everyone without hesitation. The humans might lose their courage when faced with real violence. 1,000 things could fail, but it was the only plan they had. And sometimes, the only plan is the best plan. The hours passed slowly. People talked quietly, prayed, or simply held each other. Some slept, exhausted beyond endurance. Others kept watch, eyes on the doors, waiting for the aliens to return. Lily sat with Danny. They didn't talk much. They had known each other so long that words weren't always necessary. Sometimes, just being together was enough. "Lily," Danny said finally, "what if this doesn't work?" "Then at least we tried." "That's more than most people ever do. I'm scared." "Me too." She took his hand and held it tight. Being brave doesn't mean not being scared. It means being scared and doing the right thing anyway. The gymnasium doors opened. The Vorth leader walked in, followed by twice as many guards as before. Its colors were shifting rapidly, a storm of blues and greens and purples. "Assessment begins now," it announced. "You will be separated by physical capability. The strong will be selected first. Nobody moved. Compliance is required. Non-compliance results in termination." Still, nobody moved. The humans of Lincoln Middle School looked at each other. Then they looked at the aliens. Then, slowly, they began to stand. Not in obedience, in defiance. They stood together, holding hands, forming a chain of human connection that stretched across the entire gymnasium. And 12-year-old Lily Morrison stepped forward once again, ready to speak words that might change everything. The Vorth leader stared at the chain of humans holding hands across the gymnasium. Its compound eyes shifted through colors faster than Lily could track. The guards raised their weapons, the tips glowing with deadly energy. "This behavior is illogical," the leader said through its translation device. "You have been ordered to separate. Refusal will result in termination." Lily stepped forward, still holding Danny's hand on one side and Mrs. Patterson's on the other. "We heard your order. We choose not to obey. Choice is not relevant. The collective does not recognize individual choice. You will comply or you will be processed. Then process us all. Every single one of us. Because we will not separate. We will not let you take some of us while others watch. We stay together." The Vorth leader made a sharp clicking sound that might have been frustration or confusion. It turned to one of its guards and spoke in their own language. The guard responded, its body language showing uncertainty. "You do not understand your situation," the leader said, turning back to Lily. "We have weapons. We have numbers. We have conquered 43 species. Your resistance is meaningless. Then why haven't you started killing us? The question hung in the air like smoke. The alien did not answer. You haven't killed us because you're not sure what will happen, Lily continued. This is new for you. Every other species, when they realized they couldn't win, they gave up. They accepted their fate. They let you separate the useful from the useless, because at least that way, some would survive. She squeezed the hands she was holding. She could feel Danny trembling beside her, but he didn't let go. We're different. We would rather die together than live apart. We would rather be killed as free people than survive as slaves. And that confuses you. It scares you. Because if one species can choose death over submission, maybe others can too. Maybe your whole empire is built on a lie. The collective is eternal. The collective is truth. The collective is fear. You rule through terror. You make every species believe that submission is the only option. But what happens when a species doesn't believe? What happens when they look at death and say, "That's okay. We'd rather die free"? Lily let go of the hand she was holding and walked closer to the Vorth leader. The guards tensed, but she ignored them. She was 12 years old. She was terrified, and she had never done anything this important in her life. But she kept walking. I told you a story earlier about America and Britain. Let me tell you how it ended. The Americans didn't just win their freedom. They created something new. A nation built on the idea that all people are created equal, that everyone has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These are abstract concepts. They cannot be measured. You're right. They can't be measured. But they're real. They're more real than your ships and your weapons and your empire. Because ideas live forever. Empires fall. Armies die. But an idea, once it exists, can never be destroyed. The Vorth leader was very still now. Its colors had stopped shifting entirely, frozen in the deep purple that Lily had not seen before. The idea I'm giving you right now, Lily said, will spread. Even if you kill everyone in this room, the idea will survive. Other humans will hear about what we did. They'll be inspired. They'll resist too. And then other species in your empire will hear about the humans who refuse to submit. They'll start asking questions. They'll start wondering if maybe, just maybe, there's another way. You threaten the stability of the collective. I'm offering you something better than stability. I'm offering you meaning. The Vorth leader made a sound that the translation device couldn't process. It came out as static and noise. Then it did something completely unexpected, that it sat down not in the rigid posture of authority, not in the submissive position of a lower rank. It simply sat on the gymnasium floor, lowering itself to Lily's eye level, like they were equals about to have a conversation. The guards erupted in confused clicking sounds. One raised its weapon, and the leader barked a command that made it freeze. For 2,000 years, the leader said slowly, the collective has expanded. We have conquered and processed and allocated. We have grown from one world to 17 systems. But you ask a question that no one has asked before. What is the purpose? Don't you know? Survival, growth. These were always the reasons. But you suggest that survival without meaning is not truly living. You suggest that growth without joy is pointless. Those aren't suggestions. Those are facts. Look at your soldiers. They obey because they fear punishment. They work because they have no choice. Have any of them ever created something beautiful just because they wanted to? Have any of them ever loved someone so much it hurt? The leader looked at its soldiers. They stood at attention, weapons ready, shells gleaming. Perfect machines of conquest. Empty of everything that mattered. I do not know, it admitted. These concepts are foreign to me. Lily reached out her hand. A simple human gesture that meant trust, friendship, connection. Then let me teach you. Let us teach you. Not because we're afraid of dying, but because we believe that even your species deserves better than emptiness. The gymnasium was completely silent. 300 humans watched as the alien leader stared at Lily's outstretched hand. Seconds stretched into eternity. Then, slowly, carefully, the Vorth leader extended one clawed limb and touched her palm. I do not understand what I am feeling, it said. But I want to understand. I want to learn. That's all any of us can ask for. The Vorth leader stood and turned to its guards. It spoke in their clicking language for a long time. Some guards seemed to argue. Others stood completely still, processing what they were witnessing. Finally, the leader turned back to Lily. The assessment is cancelled. The collective must reconsider its approach to your species. This is unprecedented. I do not know what will happen next. That's okay, Lily said. Neither do we. But that's what makes life interesting. The aliens left that night. Not in defeat, but in confusion. The leader reported to its superiors that humanity required further study. It requested diplomats instead of soldiers, teachers instead of processors. Its request was denied. The leader was recalled for evaluation. But something had changed in the soldiers who witnessed that night. They carried new questions back to the collective. Dangerous questions. Questions about meaning and purpose and freedom. Within a year, those questions became whispers. Within a decade, whispers became movements. The Vorth collective, after 2,000 years of expansion, began to change from within. And on Earth, Lily Morrison went back to school. She finished 7th grade. She turned 13. She grew up like any normal kid, with homework and friends and dreams for the future. But sometimes, late at night, she would look up at the stars and wonder. She would wonder if somewhere out there, a species that had forgotten how to hope was slowly learning to remember. She had spoken words into the darkness, and the darkness had listened. That was enough. That would always be enough, because freedom, she understood now, was not something you could keep for yourself. It was something you had to share. And once shared, it could never be taken back. Not by empires. Not by weapons. Not by all the armies in all the galaxies, in all the universe. Words were stronger than weapons. Ideas were more powerful than ships. And one 12-year-old girl, standing up when everyone else was sitting down, had changed the course of 2 civilizations. Not bad for a Tuesday.